Hey guys, Max92 and welcome back to another tryout. Today's tryout is on Meteos and Meteos Disney Magic. Obviously these are games for the Nintendo DS. I got my footage on a 3DS XL, but you know, it's basically the same thing. I pretty much didn't know about this game until Sakurai released a video about it on his YouTube channel that he started doing where he talks about game development and game development concepts. And this is just something I'd never heard of, and I decided, okay, let's pick up Meteos, and while I was looking for this game, I came across this Disney Magic licensed one. I was like, that's very inexpensive to pick up. Neither of them are particularly expensive, and I was like, yeah, I can make a video on the both of them. So I'm going to start with Meteos, as it's the originator of its sort of mini franchise thing that happened afterwards. So let's talk about that. So as I already sort of alluded to, Meteos is a game that was worked on by Masahiro Sakurai along with a team of developers. He's just one of the people on the project. Meteos is interesting in the realm of falling block games in that it's very much its own thing to an extent. You are launching blocks back out of your thing to attack another player, essentially, because as far as I remember, pretty much all of the modes are a sort of versus mode, either against a computer or against another player. You could play, you know, with wireless play or whatever. Matching 3 or more of a color shoots that up into the air. You can only move your pieces in the vertical columns. And that's just sort of the thing that makes it interesting, because it's not just you win if you match well. You have to launch pieces out to the other playing field, essentially. Or, you know, if you're playing a different mode, it might be something slightly different. The way that the game is set up with its like progression system, there's a lot of things to unlock, like different alien species, because you're trying to protect against like alien destruction. I'm not going to get too much into the like story elements that appear in Meteos. You unlock different alien races to use in the different game modes, along with other things in the fusion menu mode thing. And these unlockables and whatnot, and the relatively short playtime of going through your story mode really just lends to a lot of replay value. You can play the game a lot, and you feel like you're getting new things frequently, and it's not going to get as stale as some other games might that you play over and over again. And another thing that kind of adds to that decent replay value is that the game remains relatively challenging even after you've mostly figured it out, because there just becomes times sometimes where like you're just not skilled enough to be fast enough to figure out every situation, make the matches you need to do before you get overwhelmed. There's just a lot of that challenge in replay value that I think really makes this game interesting if you're into falling block puzzle games and you want to taste something different than Tetris or Columns or even like Puyo or whatever, and you're trying to like find something different than typical. This is pretty different than typical. I think it's cool. I will play more of it because I do like myself some Tetris, especially. I'm generally a fan of puzzle games. I did a video on Tetris Effect. I can put a card to that, I believe. I did that a while ago. I'll put a card of that. You can look at that, what I've had to say about Tetris. But yeah, Meteos passes. Let's try out. I think it's pretty cool. So let's move on and get talking to the other game here. Meteos Disney Magic is kind of weird among the like handful of Meteos games that came out, as it's the only like licensed title with like a brand attached to it. The other ones are, there's like a mobile game, and there was like one that was released on Xbox Live Arcade, and I think there was also like an actual arcade version or something. This is the only one that has some like random brands attached to it, which makes it very interesting as like looking into like quality. It's like, is this as quality as the other one? And honestly, I think it's generally fine. It doesn't really screw up anything that was going on in the original game. There are some changes. One of the most significant changes is that most difficulty modes in Disney Magic allow horizontal movement as well as vertical movement of blocks. And so it generally makes the game significantly easier. But because of there's a sort of switch from battles to objective-based modes in its general game loop, it just leads to a situation where sometimes things can be a little more frustrating than you'd expect, because it's like, all right, I need to launch such and such number of this specific block. You just sort of like have to hope that the game sort of dumps this block on you enough, and also enough other things so that you can launch enough stuff to get the objective before you really get overwhelmed. And it's just not quite as well-rounded and complete feeling as the original game. And that also extends to how it really doesn't have the same unlockables and replay value that I think the original game has either. There are things to unlock, but it's by and large like, here, unlock this still image, you know, that you can look at in the gallery, and there's not really much else. Like, technically you have different Disney themes that you could unlock to play within, and some of the themes have, like, different themes, sub-themes, like there's 2 different Toy Story maps or whatever, but it really doesn't have the same depth of replay and unlockables that the original game has. Another thing I have here in my notes that I noticed while playing, and this might just be, the day or my particular issues with my wrists or whatever, but I found that for some reason, having to hold it vertically like this for the same amount of time just tired out my arm a lot faster than having to hold it in the sort of horizontal position to play. That's probably just like a me thing. I don't know if that would affect anyone else. That's just something that I noticed. But overall, it's, you know, a somewhat simplified kiddie version of the original game with Disney characters slapped on it. It's not been changed too far into its core gameplay, besides some new, like, power-ups or whatever, and like a specials thing, but like it's not terribly different, and that's largely to its benefit in that it still has the sort of same solid, interesting alternative to your typical falling block game. And because of that, I honestly think that Meteos Disney Magic also passes. It's completely fine. It's cheaper by a significant margin than Meteos, though, again, Meteos wasn't that expensive. I think I spent like $20 on Meteos, but I spent like $5 on Meteos Disney Magic. So, like, it is a significant price difference. But neither of them are particularly expensive. I don't remember if I said it, but pass. I think I already did, but yeah. Don't really have much else to say, though it would be cool to see someone make a new one for, like, modern platforms like the Switch or something. I can't remember if the one on Xbox Live Arcade is even still available. It might be, but if it is, it almost certainly isn't backwards compatible. It does not show up on, at least from my small amount of research, it does not show up on the regular Xbox store. It shows up on the legacy one for Xbox 360 only games. And I don't think the mobile games still exist either. I assume. I don't know, I didn't really check on that one. But anyway, that's really all I had to say in this video. So we'll get to the end bits here. You go down in the description, find a beacons.ai link. I'll take you to all my places, Patreon, Bandcamp, Redbubble, etc. Click that link, go to those places, do what you do there. Like the video if you liked it, dislike it if you didn't. Subscribe if you want to keep up with this and other shows. I do lots of stuff on this channel. So the subscription will hopefully let you see those things. Leave a comment. Have you played Meteos? What do you think about Masahiro Sakurai's YouTube channel? Leave that comment too. If you played any of the games in the Meteos series, tell me down in the comments. Share the video. Do the things anyway. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!